I'm Christian Schiller, and in this sponsored video, I'll be taking a look at Pixibricks, a low-code platform for adding automation, integration, and of course, artificial intelligence to your existing web pages. In this first video, I will look at how you can get set up with Pixibricks. I will then look at how you can add elements to existing web pages, how you can then trigger things from those elements. I will look at using some of their integrations, and I will look at text manipulation. So the way you interact with Pixibricks is by installing a browser extension. It only works in Chromium using Brave here. It doesn't really matter. Add the extension. It adds a few different elements to the browser, actually. There's a fair bit going on behind the scenes in this extension. Once you've created an account and connected the extension to it, you can go through this default onboarding process, which I've heard on Code Authority is going to be changing soon. But you can decide whether you want to use pre-existing mods or start from scratch. I'm going to do a little bit of both. You can see you can open this command palette by clicking the icon down there. And then one of the other main areas where you interact with Pixibricks is actually in an addition to the developer console. And you can see that by default, the extension adds this new panel and some pre-configured bricks it has set up for you. So if you want to create your own mods, then you go down the developer path. To begin with, in this video, I'm going to use one of the pre-existing ones and customize it a little bit. But in this onboarding page that you get taken to first of all, you can see a general overview of how things work. So you can see here a little bit of a preview of the extension to the developer console. So I might as well just open that up now to show you what it really looks like. Of course, depending how busy your developer console is already, there may be a fair few tabs there already. And you'll probably find that it's easier to get this into horizontal mode or indeed pop it out into a separate window because it's quite a big interface in itself. It is an entire application in itself, of course. But enough setup. Let's build something. For this first task, what I want to do is create a sidebar with a checklist that people have to mark off as completed before they can merge a GitHub pull request. Now, there is a pre-existing template here already, the automated checklist, and I'm going to use this and then customize it a little bit. So I can sort of dive into doing what I want instead of building from scratch. So I can use this template. It gets added to my account, and you can see that here. And then you can save it if you want. Everything in Pixibricks is triggered by something. Here's what I'm trying to build. So 2 items that you have to check and confirm before the merge button is revealed again. You probably noticed it wasn't there anymore. So by hiding it in that brick, that display none is hiding it right now. So at the moment, until someone checks those items off the checklist, they cannot click the merge button. This is the mod in my account. And what it does is it adds this sidebar with these items that have to be checked off before the merge button becomes visible again. So in theory, no one can merge this pull request. There is a trigger, which is only on a pull request path, as you can see there. And then we hide the button based on this class. You can use the handy little picker to just dynamically pick that, but that was fairly easy for me to find. I've created these items as a variable, and then I create a sidebar, I change the labeled text, and then based on these variables, I pull them into an input type of a checkbox, and an @ symbol is always used for variables in Pixibricks. Then we have an if else, so if the form has been submitted, then we display some helpful text and show the button again, which now, of course, means that someone can merge the pull request. And let's just go through that to prove it. Of course, I'm not actually checking that anyone has done any of these things, but you get the point. So I check these boxes, click confirm, and as if by magic, the button reappears and I can now merge this pull request. In the next task, I will look at how I can create a Trello card out of a GitHub issue, because sometimes you just like to have all of your to-dos in one place. The easiest way to do this is to add a different sort of trigger that Pixibricks allows. And up here we actually have a couple of different options. And in my case, it's a button. And you can see it here. What's quite cool is that when you add the button, I'll just show you, you'll get this prompt that it wants you to select an existing button. And you can basically pick an existing button on the screen and jump back. And it will pre-fill not only the selector location, but it will also add the style down here. And just pick out the HTML that you need plus templating to support that. So that's pretty useful. But I will just go back to the one I needed for now. The one I made earlier, as we say. So here is the new issue button. And it's here. And when it is clicked and as the button, this is what's interesting here. The top item counts as the item added to the screen itself, but also the trigger. And then when we get to that, I extract the issue title and issue description using the CSS selector. You can see that there's a property, confusingly named, sorry, that's my problem, here. And we want the text, same for the description. Then we create a Trello card using the pre-configured integration I added already to my Trello account. Add the list ID. This can sometimes be a little bit fiddly to find with Trello, but Pixiebricks actually helps you do that, as you can see here. And then we do the issue description. Anything with an @ is a variable, .property to get to the property. Same for the name. And you could see here the request that will be sent to Trello. And then finally, show some confetti. So there we go. That's a good sign. And over here, lurking in my Trello account, is the card I created. There's a little bit of an issue here with the text. We could probably do some manipulation to that to get that to work. But for now, for this test case, that is fine with me. For the final task, I wanted to figure out how I could create Trello tasks from email. Now, email is often rendered quite dynamically, so I had to rethink a little bit of how I did this and came up with a little bit of a different way of grabbing the information I wanted. Here's my personal Gmail account. I'm just using a mailing list here, so I don't reveal anything particularly private. Obviously, I probably wouldn't want to create a task from this. Now, this could just trigger on page load, but that could get messy quite quickly. So I'm going to try something a little different. I'm going to use Pixiebricks' quick bar. And you can see you add that from the quick bar action. This means there doesn't need to be a trigger. You can just pick an action from that quick bar. And again, I use a filter, inbox, and then usually Gmail just adds an ID for the email. Let's change the icon to something suitable. And there is actually a Gmail one. I think that's what we need. And then again, we can just create a Trello card. Most of this is the same. Now, this is interesting. You can actually just get to the URL from the input. This is all default data available. This actually seemed like the easiest way to handle all of that dynamic data in email instead of using a selector. And instead, we can actually use their templating syntax here to do a string replace and just take off that default text that's added at the end of every email title. So now I can open this up, click the quick bar icon. I didn't have the confetti this time, but if I pull in Trello, there is the task and a link to take me back to the original email. And finally, as something of a bonus, anyone who watches my channel a lot or reads my blog knows I love the Elgato Stream Deck. So I wanted to find a way I could trigger things in Pixiebricks with that. So what I ended up doing is I've got a multi-action here. And I've added a little mail icon. Why not? Let's have a look at the two actions underneath. So first, I trigger a hotkey, which is Command and M, which opens the quick bar. And then start typing the name of the quick action and then hit Enter. Yeah, okay, let's see. And here I go. I'm pressing the button. You saw things flashed up and backwards and forwards. There it is. A little bit of an odd way of doing it, but it sort of works until you could trigger from keyboard shortcuts alone. And that was my video taking a look at Pixiebricks, the low-code platform for adding integrations, automation, and artificial intelligence to existing web pages. Thank you very much to Pixiebricks for sponsoring the video. If you want to find out more, you can take a look at pixiebricks.com. If you already use it, then let me know in the comments below. I'd love to hear your use cases and what you're doing with it. I have been Christian Schiller. You can always find more about me at christianschiller.com, or of course, subscribe to the channel, share this video, leave a comment. Always good to hear from you. Thank you very much for joining me, and take care, everybody.